The next material used as insulating material is impregnated paper. To have this kind of insulation, insulating paper is lapped on the conductor until the required thickness, which depends on the operating voltage of cable, is achieved. See, we know that the dielectric strength of any insulating material is given in terms of kilovolt per centimeter. So, to increase the dielectric strength to the value of operating voltage of the conductor, we need to have proportionate thickness. For that, insulating paper is lapped on the conductor until the required thickness, so that thickness will withstand operating voltage of cable. After that, insulating paper is dried in heat and vacuum, and then it is impregnated with insulating compound such as paraffinic or naphthenic mineral oil with resin to improve the impregnating quality. After that, once again it is dried. Impregnated paper cables have the advantage of marked durability. That means life of such cables is very good. In other words, you can say they have got long life. Dielectric strength. The dielectric strength of insulating paper when impregnated becomes very high, and also we can increase it to meet our requirement by increasing the thickness of that paper. And these impregnated papers have got low cost, that is, they are available at very low price in the market. Impregnated paper cables have low electrostatic capacitance, thus they are suitable for cables operating at very high voltage. Next type of insulating material is polythene. Polythene are used for making high frequency cables. It has low melting point. A cross-linked polythene called XPLE may be obtained by cross-linking the molecules of polythene. This XPLE has got good impulse dielectric strength. Good impulse dielectric strength means when the voltage increases all of a sudden and remains at that high value for very short duration, that voltage should be withstood. That withstanding capacity of the insulating material is called as impulse dielectric strength. XPLE is inert to chemical reactions and has a high thermal dissipation property. That means it is capable of losing the heat energy very quickly. That in fact helps in cooling the conductors that are there inside the insulation, and hence there will be no thermal damage to the insulation. The mechanical protective covering In last class I have shown how the cables are protected against mechanical injuries by using armor. Mechanical protective covering is required because insulators are mechanically weak. Since insulating materials are mechanically weak, the power cables are armored with steel tapes, that is strips, or steel wires of having enough strength there will be some power loss in armoring. Because leakage current flows through the armoring, there may be some I square R loss produced in it. And even there may be eddy current losses, hysteresis losses also. So to avoid eddy current losses and hysteresis losses, normally non-magnetic material is used as armoring. Now we will take up insulation resistance. Say this is cross section of a cable and here is the conductor. And outside the conductor we have insulator here of certain thickness. Load current flows through the conductor, that is perpendicular to the base, whereas the leakage current flows from conductor to the ground radially in the insulator, this way. You can write here leakage current flows radially through insulator. So this figure shows here leakage current. Here leakage currents are represented by arrow marks. Leakage current flows radially through insulator. Load current flows through cable conductor, that means conductor inside the cable, but leakage current flows radially through insulating material. As shown in figure. So it means that resistance is offered to this leakage current by the insulation. Now we have to derive an expression for that insulation resistance offered to leakage current. Let rho is specific resistance of insulating material. Capital R is radius of cable and small r is radius of conductor. So let us show here a cable cross section with a conductor of radius small r and the cable radius equal to capital R. Now in this cross section we will consider a small annular ring so right here consider a small annular cylinder of width dx at a distance x from the center. As shown in figure here. So that figure is available to you here. In this figure, a small annular cylinder of width dx is considered at a distance x from the center. That means the inner radius of this annular cylinder is x. Since the leakage current flows from conductor to the sheath through the insulation the length through which the current is flowing is dx. So when I consider this small annular ring here of thickness dx, the current through this annular ring will flow through a distance of dx, through a distance of dx only, that is equal to thickness of the annular ring. Area is 2 pi xl. Which area we have to take here? You assume that the insulation is cut open. When the insulation is cut open, it appears to us like this. It appears to us in this way. And the leakage current is flowing normal to this surface, and this surface is nothing but inner curved surface of annular cylinder. How do you calculate inner curved surface of annular cylinder? It is nothing but area of rectangle whose length is equal to length of the conductor and breadth is equal to circumference of the annular cylinder, that is this length, which is equal to 2 pi x, because we are calculating here inner curved surface area. So what is the area of this rectangle then? It is 2 pi xl. Leakage current I am showing here. The insulation resistance of the annular cylinder is DRS equal to rho dx upon 2 pi xl. We are making use of here R equal to rho L upon A formula. Dx is L, 2 pi xl is A. Since the insulating material is from R to capital R, that means from outer surface of conductor to the end of insulation or the end of cable. The insulation resistance is obtained by integrating equation say 1 as integration of drs equal to integration of rho dx upon 2 pi xl. Integration of drs is rs, rho by 2 pi l is constant, and here we have to take limits of integration also, because the insulation starts from small r and it ends at capital R. Integration of dx by x between the limits small r and capital R. That is rho by 2 pi l into ln of x, and we have to substitute for the limits small r to capital R. So get rho by 2 pi l ln of capital R minus ln of small ln of capital R minus ln of small r. Using laws of logarithms, we can write this as rho by 2 pi l ln of capital R by small r ohm. The insulation resistance per unit length of the cable is Rs equal to rho by 2 pi ln of capital R by small r ohm per meter. Observe here, small l is now removed because here we have taken per meter. Now once again let us look at the expression for Rs, that is rho by 2 pi L into ln of capital R by R ohm, calling it as 2. We can observe here that the insulation resistance is inversely proportional to the length of the cable. But the resistance of conductor is directly proportional to the length of conductor. So this difference also we have to understand. What we have to understand? Insulation resistance is inversely proportional to the length of the conductor, whereas the resistance of the conductor is directly proportional to the length of the conductor. We shall make a point of it here. From 2, it is observed that insulation resistance is inversely proportional to the length of cable whereas resistance of conductor is proportional to the length of conductor. Which means that as the length of conductor increases, insulation resistance decreases, whereas the resistance of the conductor increases. In other words, we can say that as the length of cable increases, the leakage current increases as leakage path resistance, that is insulation resistance, decreases. Dear students, in next class I will be taking the electrostatic stress in single core cable. Now I will stop your class here. Thank you.